Okay.
Oh.
All right, so everybody's here today, gathered for our little trolley problem podcast. I'm Parker, and I am a biology botany major, and we've gathered our round table of majors. So everyone here has a different major, and we're all going to share some different perspectives on the trolley problem and its variations. You want to introduce yourself, Jennifer?
Yeah, my name is Jennifer. I am a small animal science major.
I'm Caitlin. I'm a landscape architecture major.
I'm Susan. I'm a biology with a specialization in microbiome and biotech.
I'm Elena. I'm a conservation and wildlife major.
So to get us started, I just wanted to ask you three, if any of you have heard of the trolley problem before. I mean, clearly me and Jen have been talking about it to you all, but I know, Elena, you're kind of familiar with it because you're taking your philosophy class right now, but if anybody has any starting opinions, I'd love to hear them.
I have a game where you do the trolley problem, but that's about as good as it gets.
It's like a card game.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're playing in class.
I have no opinions on the trolley problem because I think that philosophy is stupid.
Honest.
Cool, we got a good group here, guys.
But I guess we'll start then, especially for you that doesn't really know much about it at all, with the original trolley problem. So the original is pretty popular, especially in pop culture and popular media, but essentially you are a bystander and there is a trolley racing down a track towards 5 people. There is a separate track with 1 person on it, and you are in control of a lever. And if you choose to flip that lever, the trolley will divert onto the track with 1 person. So how many of you guys would flip the lever? Just to start it right off strong.
I personally would flip the lever because as a driver, you have a responsibility to keep the passenger safe, and you have a choice between 5 people and 1. So you have to go flip the lever and hit the 1 person because either way, people are going to die, and it's your responsibility to keep the most people alive.
I would not flip the lever because I don't want to.
If we're talking about we don't know who the people are type of thing,
Yeah.
I would probably flip the lever, and hit the 1 person because I don't know them, and I think a 1 death kill streak is better than a 5 death kill streak.
Yeah, I agree. If you don't know the people, I feel like you're less biased, and I would flip the lever and hit the 1 person.
Personally, I think about how much that 1 person is just going to love me afterward that I didn't kill them. And I think I would rather be, cherished and loved by 1 not dead person.
But then 5, you'd be rather loved by 1 than 5.
Of course.
What do you think about their
5 is
families?
too many. I don't care about their families.
Okay, fan club.
I actually agree with you, and I have a couple of reasons why I wouldn't flip the lever. But I'm on the same team as you, as no flipping the lever.
There we go. Can we be team no flip?
Yes,
Thank
of
you.
course.
Thank you. I appreciate
And
it.
I've been team no flip since the very beginning of this class, and
I'm a team
And
flip.
Hey, we get it, team flip. Whatever.
my cases that we're going to show you are just going to strengthen our argument.
Absolutely.
Don't worry. I'll just show you guys, just to start, an easy little diagram of the original one, just so you can kind of get the idea of the art style and stuff. So you have to enable me to. Okay, and I would also like to make a note for those of us who are thinking of this from a kind of numbers perspective. In our class, we have learned that is considered a utilitarian approach. And so you are more focused and highly prioritize the greater good and saving the most amount of people. I personally am more focused on the individual morality of it. Does the bystander truly have the right to make that decision? And why or why not they don't? But anyway.
Yeah, I'm big into whether or not the person making the decision is actually involved in it, or are they involving themselves in something that doesn't concern them.
So, well, then do you consider the bystander involved? Because I don't. I don't consider them involved until they make the choice to flip the lever.
I don't think they're involved, so I don't think they should be able to flip the lever.
Aren't they inherently involved?
I thought the prompt that we were given was that we were inherently involved in the problem, and if we
Oh,
had
yeah,
the
that's-
choice of not getting involved, then not getting involved wasn't a choice. It was a
That's-
choice between
Not getting involved would be not flipping the lever, though, because as a bystander, the definition of a bystander is that you're not involved. You're watching from the sidelines.
Oh, yeah,
Agreed,
and
but
you-
if you have a choice between flipping a switch or not flipping a switch, that's still a choice that you're making. If there were three choices saying you don't do anything, that's different from making the choice to not flip a switch or to flip a switch.
I would say that it's the same choice. Absence of action and not flipping the switch is equivalent to me, but
I agree with you.
I do not agree with you.
Okay, well, sorry, you're not
I think
cool.
like in the first case when the driver's the one making the choice, then
no,
Oh,
this is
driver,
this is
you-
bystander. This is only bystander.
okay, now so the bystander one, they're not involved. They shouldn't get involved. So
Agreed.
they should just plow over those 5 people.
Agreed.
Well, again, they're not plowing them because they're on the side. It's not their fault that the trolley ended up the way that it is. You know?
See, I'm on team. If they're playing on the train tracks, they're gonna get hit.
if I may quote a famous man, I was over on the bench.
And I was sitting over on the bench.
I was over on the bench. I'm just a bystander. It's not my fault.
See, then they
So-
can't do anything.
If we are a bystander, I agree that not getting involved, but if the choice was to get involved one way or another, then I would rather get involved.
Would your opinion change if it was the driver's two choices?
Yeah, because then the driver has to make a decision. If you're a bystander, you don't have to make the same like decision type of thing, because that's also the driver's problem. If you're not part of the problem, if you're the driver, you are part of the problem now because you are in the train controlling the train. That's either gonna people.
But what if
You're in the same opinion here.
what?
A bystander and the driver are two different things. Like if the driver's making the decision to do it, like the driver's the one in control of the train. That's what I thought we were doing, was like if you're the driver, you're required to make the decision there, and you're required to almost like morally either hit one or the other person. If you're a bystander, that has nothing to do with the situation. um you technically like don't have to make the same decision as the driver. You almost have a third decision, which is just let it happen how it's gonna happen.
That's kind of my view as well. But I would say that the driver, they theoretically they would be no different. They didn't cut the well, then we just go back and back and back on whose responsibility is, but like who checked the brakes on the trolley? Who said that those 5 people could be safely working out there and then they suddenly weren't safe anymore? It kind of gets into a whole string of hypotheticals.
True. You could just go as a bystander and push them off the road. You push the single person off the road.
Honestly, no one has said that in all of our.
But I'm saying
12 weeks
if
of
you are a
class.
bystander, you are not on the train, obviously, because you have the thingy to
Mhm.
control. Run up and push the single person off the track, and then that should be the driver's responsibility to now turn around and be able to.
Why has no
pull
one
the
thought of
lever
this in
to
the
the-
12 weeks of class we've been discussing this?
Yeah, because then you
Okay,
don't.
wait. I am just gonna pivot us just a second because we brought up pushing. And I'm going to introduce to you all the Fat Man trolley variation. So I'll show you the visual. It's not super amazing, but hopefully it'll help a little. So basically the trolley is heading towards 5 people. There's nothing that you can do as the bystander to divert the trolley, but you can push a large person off of a bridge and they will fall in front of the trolley and stop it. Would you push the person?
No.
No.
But you would turn the track onto the single person to save the 5.
Yeah, no, I retract what I said. If you're a bystander, you're not like in the situation like you guys are saying, so it's not really your decision to make. If you do decide to switch the tracks, then you are basically like committing murder, I guess, because you made the decision to kill kill that one person,
I
basically.
feel like when you like go to make the decision, like when you're the bystander, you just like start weighing people's lives. And
I
with food,
agree.
You can't
Yeah.
make, like a person like that.
Like you can't deem one person's life not valuable. And another philosopher that we talked about, his name is escaping me. I'm embarrassed that I don't remember his name. Anyways, he said that we can't use other people as a means to an end. So you can't push the fat man and use him to stop the trolley, just as you can't use the single person to save the five.
I think the implications are a little bit different with them though. The implications with like the 1 versus the 5 is that one of the two, it's almost different in my mind because one of the two has to die, and there's not one that should necessarily, if you look, that's not at numbers, regarding numbers. One of them's gonna die no matter what. They almost have like an equal chance in my mind. But if there's a fat man minding his own business on a bridge somewhere, he wasn't the one that had like got himself into any type of situation like that, and now he also, in my mind, is a bystander, and that means you're involving another bystander in a situation where we all just agreed that bystanders should have no purpose in any type of ethical, like, well, not necessarily ethical, but any type of dilemma like this. If there's people on the track and you're a bystander, we all, I think, agreed that, you know, bystander minds their own business. What happens happens. If there's a fat man on a bridge, he is technically now a bystander, and you're bringing another bystander into it instead of just letting what happens happens.
I think you should ask the fat man, would you kill yourself right now?
Or could you take a hit?
Could you take the hit of the trolley to save these 5 people? And let him make the choice. Why should I be the one making the choice? He's a man. You could have said it was a boulder or something like that. So if it's a person, why don't they get the opportunity to make the choice?
I think this would be a good point actually to connect this to the bomb case. So Parker, if you wanted to pull a picture up of that one.
Okay, give me 1 sec.
There's a game where we've literally put like babies on one track and like Hitler on the other track.
We have discussed that.
That game is so fun.
Do you think it does change though when you add another, like if say like that person's your mother or something?
I do think it changes, yeah.
Absolutely. I think the more specific that you get into it, the more it changes your intuition. And just the last thing on the fat man, there's a slightly different variation where instead of pushing him off, you throw a switch and he falls. Does that change anybody's mind?
Is the one that like flips the switch from the trolley and it like opens the trap door and he falls.
Yeah.
I would still think that's almost,
I think that's when the
I still think that's
driver should go
involved-
for it.
I still think that's involving a bystander who we all agreed should not be a part of
No,
the situation.
That's when the driver should go for it because he has a responsibility to his passengers.
Why?
Because he's in charge of the trolley. He's got to keep the people alive. You don't.
But
get-
how is that any different of switching the track and going on to the one person though? Is my question. And also I would say that the one person on the track, technically the trolley isn't heading towards them, therefore not involved, therefore bystander, but
Oh, so you think that one person is a bystander?
I mean,
I think if you're on train tracks, you're already in it.
I agree. I think if you are on the train tracks, you are no longer a bystander. If you are a man walking on a bridge, you are a bystander.
but technically wouldn't the main bystander, the one pulling the switch, like aren't they down by the tracks?
But you're not on the tracks. That's different. If you're the main bystander,
Well-
you're not on the tracks. If you were on the tracks, then you would obviously, well, I shouldn't say obviously, but there's a good chance if you're on the tracks, then you'd be inserted into problem. It would be kill yourself or kill other people.
My question.
That's the driver's 3 choices, and we can do that unless you want to do the bomb first, and then we can come back.
I would do the bomb because
Did
they
the
had,
bomb like blow up the train instead?
Yeah, so let me share. And we'll take a look at the bomb, and then we'll go back to driver's 3 choices because that's a whole nother one, and I really am into that one. So okay, so here's our little diagram for the bomb trolley case. So in this one, again, the trolley is heading towards the 5 people, and there's no diverting it, but the bystander can set off a bomb that will stop the trolley, and the shrapnel from the bomb will kill one person. Would you throw the bomb?
So does the bomb?
The trolley's going along, and then the bomb sets off, which stops the trolley, but the shrapnel from the explosion kills a bystander.
Kills
Or
a
not
bystander.
not necessarily a bystander, but like the other, like one other
Kills
person.
another person.
No, I still think if you're a driver, the things change. But if you're a bystander, because you'd have to be in order to throw a bomb onto the tracks, I don't think it's your problem if you're a bystander.
I also feel like this one's a
It's
little.
kind of doing a lot.
I don't know. I feel like if you throw the bomb though, you don't know you're gonna kill that one person. Like you're not gonna be like, if I throw this bomb right now, the shrapnel is gonna hit one person. Am I gonna make that like? I feel like you wouldn't know that in the moment, so you would just throw it, thinking that would
You
do
know,
something.
I think in this scenario, they do know that one other person will die, but I'm not 100%.
I was gonna say, I kind of, there are like, bystander protection laws where like if you see somebody having a heart attack on the sidewalk or
Samaritan
something
law.
like that. Yeah, oh, I thought it was bystander. Good Samaritan law, whatever. So you can like, if you give them CPR, but you accidentally kill them, you can't be charged because you were trying to do a good thing. So I kind of think in the case of the bomb, it's like that, where you're trying to do a good thing by saving the 5 people, but you kill the one person. So you're ethically clear, theoretically.
Ethically, but morally, that's the difference.
I would say
Ethically-
legally you're cleared. I don't know if morally
But,
you're.
but bombs are illegal.
Uh,
Think
fireworks
about
aren't.
What kind of fireworks
what
do
town
you
are
play
you
with?
in?
I feel like if I was setting off a bomb, even if it was to stop a trolley, I would be like, this probably could kill people.
Agree. My thought process with that is if you don't know how many people you're gonna kill with the bomb, I would be scared that it would derail the entire train and you kill everyone on the train. That would be my fear. Now, if you know it's only gonna kill one person, I guess I'm kind of on the same side Jen is with it. But if you
This is
have
the
no
only
idea,
one.
if
Yeah.
it's throw a bomb to save 5 people, or don't save 5 people and you don't know how many people you're killing with that bomb, I would not throw it because I think my first thought was, again, it would derail the train and you'd kill everybody on that train.
I feel
I don't know if there's necessarily other people on the trolley, but we didn't even talk about that, Jen, if there were other people on the trolley.
No, because now that I'm thinking about it, I'm kind of unclear of where if the bomb is blowing up the track or the trolley.
Let me see.
Does it specify?
It just
if
says
the actual-
stop the trolley. So
Oh, so I guess because it doesn't specify, I feel like I wouldn't do it now, even though I said I would do it a couple minutes ago.
Yeah, because if it's just you,
I would say now, no, because you don't know how many people in the trolley it's gonna kill and by what means it's using to stop it.
That was my thought process, was it would derail the entire thing. Even if it went off the tracks, that's still like, you could still kill people by doing that. So I would definitely not throw the bomb. I also think that, again, as a bystander with that type of situation, that's not your place to
Not
make
your
the
place to
decision like
decide.
that.
they're almost like over involving themselves. Like it's just so much action to decide to light a bomb and then throw it at a moving trolley.
It's also unclear of if they have a bomb, are they necessarily a good person?
Like the whole concept of the bomb in general is what kind of makes me laugh about this example, because although people like feel like it's different, it's I don't know. The bomb is just weird to me.
I don't like the bomb also because the conductor or driver of the trolley, if you are not the driver and you're a bystander, you don't know what they're also planning, because there's a chance that they also see the 5 people. And what if the trolley can stop?
That came in. Do you remember I was giving my example last week and we were talking about free will and choice and how like the bomber heading towards a city could still decide not to bomb the city, but the government could also decide to redirect their plane. Do you kind of remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah. And there was like ones where like the plane could redirect and hit a smaller city.
And it's like the whole concept of having to factor in whether other people are going to change their minds at the last moment. Like, is there a driver, and do they have a plan if there is one,
That was my thought process, is if you're kind of doing that, you're almost messing up what the driver may have planned.
Just before we transition into the next cases, I wanted to ask, like, this might be kind of an odd question, but if you can think of any applications Who said they were, what are everyone's majors again? I'm sorry.
Microbiology, biotech.
Small animal science.
So for the small animal science, like in making a decision between saving like a certain amount of animals over another, like can you think of any examples where maybe this
I-
kind of ethical dilemma could apply?
Wait, go ahead. Do you have something?
Oh, you can go for micro if you know one.
Okay, micro. A big part of what I'm interested in is IVF and the fact that you can take stem cells from a brand new fertilized egg. That's a big ethical dilemma because that goes into when's a baby a baby? Can you kill a baby? Or I shouldn't say a baby, a developing embryo to save 10 other people? Or is that ethically wrong? That is almost exactly the same thing because the stem cells from an embryo, so embryonic stem cells can become anything in a body because they're not differentiated yet. So you can make them into anything, but to do that, you would have to have a fertilized egg that you're basically quote unquote killing if you believe that is a baby at that stage. It's before any development. It's purely when the egg is fertilized and it becomes a zygote, and you can take the cells from it and save people by it. But you'd be in the process killing a quote unquote potential baby.
That's fascinating.
Mhm.
And it really is. It's like, do we save 10 people who are sick or potentially keep alive one future person?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That kind of, and then did you have an example for your small animal?
Yeah, I feel like one would be like, say you have like a toxic pregnancy. So like, I know there's a way more formal term for it, but where like the baby could kill the mother. So you have to make a decision between whether or not you want to save the mother or save the baby. And that's a big dilemma because it's like a child versus adult and like new life versus like
No, the adult
continuing
life
life.
is 10 times more.
Oh, you're
Babies
on,
are worth nothing.
you're on team adult. Okay.
Of course I am.
I'm on team young
I am
child.
also in my dilemma on team
Somebody
10 people.
brought something similar.
I think
almost that
Emma
exact
did
example.
with sheep. So
What was that? I'm sorry.
Emma did bring something up similar with sheep.
Yeah. And then Elena, do you have anything like for conservation? I don't know, like saving one species over another or like anything like that?
Honestly, I don't know off the top of my head. I feel like, oh gosh, making a decision on like if you like between like, oh, like which species to save. Like, cause like they're all important, like important. Like obviously there's some that like we could get rid of and like it's fine, but that's like only like a few. Like the whole ecosystem would crash if we like one went extinct or we got rid of one. So I honestly don't know, but I'm team adult, honestly, because you can have more babies. But once you know that person's born in a person, then you know, shouldn't you
But couldn't the baby have babies?
Well, yeah, but you can always have more babies. But once there's already that person, say you, like there's only gonna be one you, but that sounds bad. But I don't know how to explain it. But like
A baby over me.
I don't know how to explain it, but I'm team adult.
I think especially what you brought up about how important every species is with how intense climate change is getting right now and like the most recent climate reports, people are going to have to make decisions like that and decide what species they are going to focus on over others. And like people will have to consider like how many there are of one versus the other, or if they're like a keystone species or not. So that's why the trolley problem is so interesting to me, because it's so applicable to so many different things.
Yeah, definitely.
But anyways, does anybody have any other thoughts, or do we want to move to our last couple cases?
I'm
I'm good to move on.
All right, so the last ones I'm going to introduce are kind of very, very similar. They all start with the same base and then it just expands from there. So this is the driver's 3 choices, or the bystander's 3 choices, not the driver. There's actually two examples of this. So in the first one, yeah, here, desktop. So in this one, the bystander can let the trolley go to the 5 people. They can turn it to the 1 person, or they can turn it on themselves. So this is the example that really got me on the no flip team, because morally, if you can't make the decision to flip it on yourself, how could you have the right to flip it on someone else? We have 10 minutes, so opinions?
I would turn on myself.
I wouldn't.
Why?
I wouldn't either. And so then therefore I can't make
Kill
that
myself.
choice.
I'm the only one that can make the
I
decision.
think that in terms of our society, we see self-sacrifice as a great thing, but at the same time, if you don't have to make a decision in the thing and have it kind of go where it, I don't want to say naturally, but where it was like intended to go, that's almost like, I understand like the want to have that like heroism and do that to yourself, but I also don't know those other people, and I don't know if one of them is like mini Hitler on one of the other tracks. And if I killed myself and let mini Hitler live, I'd be a little upset over that. So I think I'm on the same page of, I also don't think it's fair to flip it on one person either, but I would just let it go then.
But I feel like you're the only person that can make the decision because you're in your own brain.
Yeah, but I'm
You-
not gonna
you-
I'm not gonna kill myself for other people.
Well, like currently,
I would not kill myself for people that I don't know. If I have no clue.
And you're not obligated to.
yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't make it. I mean,
I feel like you're slightly obligated to,
If you're a
Why?
murder for a cause, if there
You're
was
standing
like your
next to a
whole
lever.
family-
and it's gonna kill people.
but I
Either
don't,
way, someone's
here's the
gonna
thing, though,
die.
I don't think inaction is inherently bad here. If you're the bystander, I don't understand how
But when you're on
inaction
the
can be
track,
seen
I
as
don't think
morally
you're a
wrong.
bystander anymore. Because you're on the track too.
But it's still called bystanders 3 choices. So then that goes back to like the other one.
Which is weird. I think that it's called that. It should be 3 choices because you're no longer a bystander because you're standing on the
I mean, but if you do nothing, then you're just standing by. watching.
I think that in terms of that type of thing, by the whole bystander syndrome idea, where if you're a bystander, you're not obligated to do anything, is yes or no in certain situations. In this situation, I would say it's a situation where it's a no type of thing. It's a,
Why?
if I wouldn't personally turn it on myself, I don't think I would want to. I don't think I know the other people well enough. Again, if you put identities with the people and it was kill yourself or kill
by the time
like,
you get a profile together, they're gonna be dead.
well, I'm saying you're like, if you had your family on one of the tracks with
Oh.
the 5 people, I would take my own life over my
I
family's
was
life.
thinking with
But
my
if they're
phone.
full strangers, I wouldn't. But at the same time, bystander syndrome.
What
when
if
it
there's
comes
like
to
a
certain, like,
neurosurgeon
other
or
issues.
something? You
Mm,
just kill a
well,
neurosurgeon?
I'm bringing back extinct animals from the dead when I'm in work, so I'm gonna go with
Neurosurgeons are replaceable. I mean,
they are.
inherently they are.
If
It's not
if I
like
killed a neurosurgeon, I would then turn around and dedicate my life to becoming a neurosurgeon in their place.
I think that
But
so,
it could.
we have a lot of focus
who-
on like everyone is equally as important, but there's almost 8
I don't
billion
think that's
people on the
true.
planet.
There are people that are more important
Like-
than other people in certain ways of saying it. It not to random people, but a serial mass child rapist. I would put on the train tracks over like a neurosurgeon. But
Yes.
not that you get to choose, not that you get to choose who's on the train tracks, but I don't think people hold equal worth in society. I think you're all born with equal worth. In my eyes anyway, everyone has their equal worth, but depending on what you do with your life and the choices that you make, you can either increase that worth in society or decrease that worth in society.
Who was it that said that oh, they don't like that self-sacrifice shouldn't be so glorified? Who said that?
Me.
I believe it's Judith Jarvis that would agree with you, and she said that you shouldn't turn it on yourself, and therefore you shouldn't turn it on the one person because you can't shift that responsibility onto someone else if you won't take it.
Well, that's not the same thing because one's like you deciding, and then the other one's someone else deciding for you. It's like a different thing. Like you didn't.
Who's
that person
deciding
didn't
for
kill
me?
themselves. The person by the lever, the bystander.
No, I'm saying me, I can't shift as me as the bystander. I can't shift that responsibility onto someone else if I'm not willing to take it myself.
to save.
I agree with that.
So, but then you would put that responsibility on the 5 other people.
It was already going towards them. I didn't turn the trolley onto them. It was simply happening.
Oh, I get it now.
Yeah. I would feel more guilt and more of a moral issue with making the effort to turn around and say, okay, I'm going to consciously change it onto one person, even though I know for a fact I wouldn't take it myself.
Solve all these problems. Kill yourself.
Like, that's messed up. Like, knowing that I can't make the decision to turn it on myself, but putting that burden on someone else, that's completely
To
impossible.
live
and
with myself knowing that I got to live and all these other people died.
So if we tie in the fat man problem, so what I said earlier, what I brought up was, if you had to push him off of the bridge in front of the trolley, if you had to ask him whether he would do it or not, how is that any different than the person in this with the 3 problems? Because if you ask the guy, if you ask the fat man, he said no, he didn't do anything wrong. He just said no,
Shove
which
him
is a
over.
completely self-respecting and
true.
absolutely okay answer. But as soon as we say, oh, well, it's just going to be yourself, why is saying no now a different decision? It's the same decision that the fat man would have made in that case.
And that one person on the track, they can't consent. So I agree with you. Like, if you ask the fat man and they say no, and that's them not consenting, you can't even ask the person on the other track. So how could they ever consent to that?
I agree. If you flip, like, okay, if you can't do it yourself, you have no right to, even if you could, even if you decided to flip the switch and kill yourself, you still have no right to decide to kill anyone else. And I think if, it was going to happen, 5 people are going to get hit, then that's what was going to happen. I don't know. Like,
So, since you're involved,
you're not obligated.
knowing that more people than necessary died.
But you didn't.
Okay, but it's not your choice to begin with. It's what was going to happen, And if you do switch the tracks, say you can't do it on yourself, but if you switch the track to the 1 person or even to the 5 people, if you can do that, then you're basically choosing to kill them. So I say doing nothing is
That's the principle.
better than choosing to.
Versus letting die. I'm letting those 5 people die. I'm not killing that one person.
Exactly, yeah.
It's bad when you have the option to save all those people. So I think when you can save all those people, it becomes a choice between saving and killing, not letting die.
Well, here's the thing. Let me introduce our last problem before we run out of time, because that talks about it. So this is also 3 choices, but it's slightly different. Here we go. This is saving by letting die. So exactly what you were just talking about. Don't lose it. Share. I'm gonna run out of time. Should we rejoin or just try to fit it in? So this is bystander saving by letting die. So basically this one is the trolley's heading towards 8 people. You can turn it towards 1 person, or you can turn it towards materials that you would need later to save 5 people. I would destroy the materials because in that moment, that decision is not killing anyone. Later on, I just can't help them. I'm not actively killing them. I'm just lacking the means.
I agree. I think I would hit the material. Is there anything to say that you can't save them in another way later?
No, if you hit the materials, the 5 people can't be saved.
Okay, well, I would hit the materials then.
No, because then inherently you're killing them.
Well,
Okay, but do we know do we know we're going to need those materials later to
Yes.
save those people? I would still, because it's whatever's in the moment. You know what I mean? Like, I would hit the materials because what happens in the future is different than what's happening right now.
I think we
I
all
agree.
You can't really decide for the future. You can decide for right now.
I think we all just agreed on one, because I would agree with hitting the materials because you don't necessarily know that it's gonna have, how would you know those materials are gonna be used specifically to save the 5 people? Because you don't even know those 5 people exist yet.
Honestly, even if you did know that they exist, that is not the primary responsibility. Like, those 8 people and the 1 person take priority. And if there's an action you can take that doesn't immediately kill everyone, I think that that's the only permissible action.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
you
I
don't
agree.
take into account those 5 people because they're not immediately involved. They come in at a later point.
Okay, so I'm glad that we ended on a problem that we seemed to all agree on. Did we all agree that we would destroy the materials to save the 5?
Yes.
I am the definition of a material girl, and I would destroy those materials.
I would do it.
But have I changed anybody's mind from flip to no flip?
Yeah, in the beginning. Because I didn't realize that you could just like not flip it.
If I'm a bystander, I'm not a part of the problem.
Yeah.
Personally. I'm on kind of, it depends on the situation, but you know.
That is very valid. And part of the things that I enjoy about this conversation is how fluid it can be. And I appreciate you being such a good sport about me bullying you. Thank you guys so much for
Oh,
participating
thank you.
All in the name of ethics.
Of course.
in our little major roundtable. I hope everybody had fun.
Yeah, it was a
Really.
good time.
And yeah, I guess we're good.
All right. Well, we did it.
Let